Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 9 of Expanding Empires. I'm your host, Aaron, and I'm a member of the 6++ team. Thank you for watching the show and helping us build our content out. If you are interested in other things Warhammer 40,000 related, then please check out Davey with Bugwatch. Tom has a couple of shows, the GSC that came from below, and the List Doctor. We also have Lewis with the brand new, and that's Warhammer, which is more of a lore-based content. We have Chris putting out the tips and tricks, and we also have Ed has got a new show going on about different cool armies that you want to play but probably not invest in because of how sort of memey they are, how they're going to change soon, or just the expense barrier of getting them, etc. We've got a couple of a few cool lists for you to go over this week. Not as many events going on in the world over the past weekend, it seems. So I've got a couple of winning lists from Smart TTs, and then a couple coming up for a major, etc., for the week ahead. So without further ado, let's get on to the first list. So the first list we have here is Sean Keavney at Games and Friends April 40k RTT in the US. This was an 18-player event over 3 rounds, and Sean went 3-0 and ended up going third. Very unlucky here, missed out on a few battle points not to take the top spot. But again, congratulations, Sean. Very well done to you. Sean went for the Boar concept and fast attack as a compulsory type. In the HQs, Sean has got Commander in Cold Star Battlesuit with Seeker of Perfection, 2 airbursting fragmentation projectors, the Dominator fragmentation launcher, a high outburst cannon, and this is the Warlord. So the Seeker of Perfection gives an extra AP to any ranged attacks that the commander makes, and also gives mortal wounds on 6s to wound. I think it caps out 3 per unit that is attacked. Again, we've started to see these creep in with a lot of commanders with the airbursting fragmentation projectors for out of line of sight shooting. You've got the good option of pushing them up the board to attack things like the Venga launchers and also the guard mortars, etc., because you can character protect them at the same time. And I think, we're going to see this more and more of this out of line shooting meta is continuing to evolve and progress, which is a bit unfortunate, but having the commander only go down to hitting on 3s is pretty good. And obviously, if you are able to get anything around the back to get Markites on, even better. Following that, we have a commander in Crisis Battlesuit with Precision of the Hunter. And this has got 3 Cyclic Iron Blasters, Iridium Battlesuit, the Thermoneutronic Projector, and then 2 Marker Drones. I really like this. I really like the output that it can do with the Cyclics, and then they are turned in with Thermoneutronic Projector. You're wanting to close down with your opponent and just get close in their face. So yeah, really like this. Definitely like the ability to have all the rerolls on the Cyclics as well. We then have an Ethereal with the Sense of Stone for the 5 Feel No Pain, Wisdom of the Guides for the CP farming, and then, as we'd expect, Exemplar of the Cayenne for the redeploy. We have them on Hover Drone to help keep up with everyone, and then the Humble Stave to make sure that all the implications go off in a 2-up, and then we've got 2 Marker Drones there as well. Quite like seeing the additional marker drones here, because obviously if you fail any saves, you can pass that off, but also starting to find it really handy to actually detach marker drones, or any drones for that matter, from units, be they Devilfish, Hammerheads, Battlesuits, or in this case characters like the Ethereal, and just move them out to try and hold objectives, contest them, take them, without actually doing yourself having to do it with a valuable unit that you don't want to expose. Following that, we also have the Recruit Shaper with the Advanced EM Scrambler. Again, we're seeing this as a mainstay that's coming through and through more lists. And for 25 points and a CP, you can't really complain. You can hold your home objective, no deep strike from 12. It's a really, really useful piece of tech there. And I'm amazed it took so long for us all to find it. But congratulations to the people that did. We then got in the troops section, just 2 breach teams. These are going to be kitted out with 2 Devilfish, which they'll be in. Each of the Devilfish is armed with a Seeker missile and then 2 gun drones. Again, outline starts shooting means you really need to have your troops, etc., if they're not heavily armed and high toughness in transports, and then also gives the option to push out and go for secondaries or deny primary, which is really, really nice. In the elite section, we've got a unit of 5 crisis battlesuits. These are all armed with cyclic iron blasters, fusion blasters, and plasma rifles, and then 4 of a target lock. And then the Shazra's got a shield generator with stim injectors, and then we have 5 marker drones and 3 shield drones. So really, really seeing a push on the marker drones here for the ball concept. Normally we'd see that flip round and have 5 shield drones over the markers just to try and make them a bit more tanky, but still 8 drones to get through, so that's pretty good. We're going to see the shoot and fade, push up and apply pressure on the opponent. Again, seeing the fusion blasters creep in, maybe because the meta that they're going into has more armor in it. But yeah, still good to see that the one stay throughout the entire edition for the new codex has been the crisis battlesuits. In fast attacks, we've got the obligatory 3x4 Recruit Hounds. They're just so good for the pre-game move and the cheapness of them to move, block, go and grab objectives, etc. behind enemy lines if you really want as well. But yeah, good to see them in here as usual. In heavy support, we've got 2 Riptides. These are armed with a double plasma rifle, iron accelerator, multi-tracker, target lock, and velocity tracker. These are seeing more and more use, and I'm seeing them pop up more and more as a staple in units. I just love them personally. I love the ability to have another unit, a couple of units to shoot and fade with, and just be able to keep your assets out of line of sight and punish your opponent, and then just push out and be aggressive when you really need to. Again, Sean, congratulations on going 3-0 and getting third. Very unlucky, and hopefully next time you'll get first. Next up, we have Riley Morris, who was at Mayhem Madness, a GT preview event in the US. This was 25 players in 3 rounds. Riley went for fast attack as their compulsory type, and it was Farsight Enclaves. And Riley also went 3-0 and also got third, just not quite getting the battle points to push through for the win. And this is something that I do struggle with the Tau builds. Is sometimes you can't quite get the high scoring points, and you really need to be able to get kill secondaries and be very aggressive to take your opponent off the board to get into the 90s consistently. In the HQ slots, Riley has gone for a Cadre Fireblade just with Exemplar of the Cayenne for the redeploy. Interesting to see it going on the Cadre Fireblade instead of potentially on the Crew. Just being able to maybe you can't take it on the Crew, actually, that's why. So I'll stop my train of thought there. And then Commander in Cold Star Battlesuit with Precision of the Hunter. They have a high output burst cannon, missile pod, plasma rifle, and then the thermoneutronic projector. They are the Warlord. Pretty standard layout for the Commander in Cold Star. I use this layout quite a lot, and I quite like it. It gives you a nice mix of a bit of long range and then some ability to take down more sort of lightly armored units as well. Commander in Cold Star Battlesuit has Master of the Killing Blow. This one is the Farsight Enclave specific one, and on a 6 to wound, you add 3 to the AP of the weapon, and the model cannot use any rules that make it prevent damage like wound caps, etc. They are armed with the DW02 Advanced Burst Cannon, which again does that. You can't use burst wound caps against it. A high output burst cannon, a missile pod, and plasma rifle. So just lots and lots of shots to try and get through those 6s to wounds to take advantage of Master of the Killing Blow. Again, this is the first time in a while I've seen double Cold Star, so that's nice to see as well. They're probably my favorite model in the range. Are they my favorite model? Probably going to get taken over by Farsight when I actually get my hands on him, because that new one is delicious. We then have 2 breach teams in the troop section. Again, these are in Devilfish, but just bare bones Devilfish with the gun drones. In the elite section, a little bit of a different twist on it. We have a unit of 3 crisis battlesuits with 6 iron blasters, burst cannons, and plasma rifles, and then target locks and just a gun drone. And then we have a second unit of 3 crisis battlesuits with 6 iron blasters, burst cannons, plasma rifles, and then target locks. No gun drone on that. Interesting to see how Riley would have played this. I'm presuming because they are 3-mans that these were designed to come down from deep strike and take advantage of the Farsight Enclave's specific stratagem to get rerolls to hits and wound, which was very, very effective and really saving the CP on it, and just the output that they do with those full rerolls on having 3 people instead of 5 it makes a big difference, and making it a smaller footprint to hide if need be afterwards, and also you're not throwing that much where if they come down and just delete a unit for you, and then they're probably going to take a lot of punishment in return, and then you get to do it again and just get rid of the units that are causing you the trouble. In the elites continued, we then have 3 stealth battlesuits. These are all armed with burst cannons. They're the homing beacon. Again, looks like it ties in with the units 3. You can bring that unit crisis battlesuits down in turn 1 to really apply the pressure early on into your opponent. In fast attack, we've got 2 units of 4 Crit Hounds, and then we have a Pathfinder team. And again, we haven't seen this very often, but we've then got 2 Tetras, just for the marker lights and the pulse rifles. Very, very small, able to get very, very quick, able to get the angles to get the marker lights on, potentially for things like these crisis battlesuits that are going to be dropping down from deep strike and not have the +1 to hit innately. Very, very cool little models to use, and starting to see people experiment with them a bit more, but it's cool to see again the full range of models being taken to events, and as we can see, doing well. Next up in heavy support, we've got 2 Riptide battlesuits with double plasma rifle, early warning override, iron accelerators, target locks, and velocity trackers. As we said, look, they're just so good. Having the iron accelerator on there, being damage 4, even with -1 to damage from the banner you see quite often in Dark Angels with the Terminator spam. It just means every one that goes through is still wiping out a Terminator, which is pretty good. Again, well done to Riley on going through now and getting 3rd place. Hopefully next time you'll be able to get those few extra points to push you into 1st. Next up for the week ahead, we've got Troy Mason at the London Open in the UK. 149 players in 6 rounds. Troy has gone for a Tau Sept and heavy support as a compulsory type. In the HQ slots, we have Commander and Cold Star Battlesuit with a vectored maneuvering thrusters, which is the one that allows you to make a move after you're charged. Precision of the Hunter for the reroll to hit and wound everything. And then we get DW02 Advanced Burst Cannon for the no wound caps allowed, etc. And then another high output burst cannon, a shield generator, and then 2 marker drones. Again, this looks like just trying to apply pressure with a commander, get loads and loads of output in shots there. What is that about? It's 18 shots, I think. All at AP1, and just being able to apply that pressure. And then if you get charged in response because you've gone a bit too far forward, you can then just redeploy yourself effectively with the maneuvering thrusters. So that's quite a nice take on that. It'd be cool to see how that goes. Following up, we have Commander Shadow Sun with Exemplar of the Cayenne for obviously the redeploy, the 2 high energy fusion blasters, and obviously the other Warlord. I like using Commander Shadow Sun. I like being able to give out rerolls. So this is nice to see it being picked up again. I do feel that the model wasn't being used as often recently, but are starting to see it creep back into lists that I'm coming across. And then we have an Ethereal with Sense of Stone, with some of the guides as you'd expect, and then a Hover Drone with the Humble Stave as well. Finishing off the HQs, we've got Long Strike, bare bones just with the railgun and the 2 gun drones. Again, great to have another option to be able to put +1 to hit for any core unit, which again is a very, very handy thing to have with the crisis suits, etc., not having to rely on marker drones all the time, because it means you can detach them and throw them forward and make them expendable. We then have 2 strike teams, and the interesting bit here is they're not going to be in transports, so trying to take advantage of that extra range and maybe hold back and go out for the corners for aerospace relay, maybe, or even potentially starting them in reserve to come on later and grab them as well. We then got the standard brick of 5 crisis battlesuits in the elites. These are all armed with cyclic iron blasters, missile pods, and plasma rifles. This is a loadout that I really like. I just like having a bit more long-ranged attacks at decent AP and damage to do in the first couple of turns as you're shooting and fading, and then the cyclics to really come into their own when you get to advance with the aggression later on. Every battlesuit in this unit has a shield generator, and then the Shazray has an Iridium battlesuit, stim injectors, and then it is equipped with 3 marker drones and 3 shield drones. Again, this is going to be a very, very tanky unit. My only concern with this is that as they don't have the target lock to ignore cover, they may come into some issues with some power armored armies just surviving a little bit longer than you'd want them to, and maybe not being able to fit the maths that you're expecting. We then have 5 stealth suits with a homing beacon and all armored burst cannons. So again, potentially having the option to bring the crisis battle suits down in turn 1. And also with the unit of 5 just means that you can really take out some low armored opponents like guardsmen, orcs, things like that, and also potentially go for retrieve battlefield data. In heavy support, we've got 2 broadsides, individual units these are, with heavy rail rifles, stabilized optics that don't suffer the penalty for moving, and then twin smart missile systems and a marker drone each. I love the broadside battle suits. It's good to see them popping up more and more. I think they're really, really good if you use them from reserves at the moment, because obviously reasonably small base to bring in to get angles with the heavy rail rifles and just help protect themselves in the earlier games because they are quite slow. And then we finish off the list with 2 Riptide battlesuits. They both have double plasma rifle, and then this time, and this is the nice bit that I think Troy's gone for, is obviously expecting a lot of Marines, is heavy burst cannons on both of them. And then the multi-tracker for the additional hits on extra units, and then target lock and velocity tracker. So yeah, this is a very nice take on the list, and I'm really excited to see how Troy gets on. And then finally, the last list for the week is Jacob Whitehouse, who is at last of the summer Winehammer in the UK. 48 players over 5 rounds. Jacob has gone for Farsight Enclaves and has chosen, I believe it's troops. It wasn't listed, but I'm guessing from looking at the list it was troops, so we've put that down. I apologise if that's wrong, Jacob. In HQ, we have a Cadre Fireblade just carrying the Exemplar of the Kain. And then we have Commander Farsight with his Warlord trait of Exemplar of the Montcar. And then Commander and Cold Star with Precision of the Hunter, and then 2 air burst fragmentation projectors, a Dominator fragmentation launcher, a high output burst cannon, the Onager Gauntlet, and then 2 marker drones. Pretty cool to see this, and I was expecting with the Onager Gauntlet on there being maybe to have the thermoneutronic projector as well instead of the high output burst cannon. But it looks like this is more sort of out of line of sight shooting to start with, and then the burst cannon to advance with later, and then a bit of melee if needed. But again, this is another one where we're seeing those 3 air bursting fragmentation projectors essentially with a Dominator too. And it just seems to be coming in a nice way to try and aggressively counteract and combat the out of line of sight shooting meta that we're seeing with the Guard and the Venga boys from the Marines. In the troops, we have 2 breacher teams. These will both be sitting in 2 basic devilfish with gun drones. Again, look, it's just a necessity of the environment we find ourselves in, and it's better to be safe than sorry. And the added benefit being it just gives you that ability to have more reach to get secondaries done, or even move blocking, aggressively try and stop your opponent's primary, and just have another unit that you can throw around that your opponent has to get through to get to the softer stuff inside. We then have a unit of Crew Carnivals. We've seen these fall out of favor recently. I'm still using them just because they're still a bit cheaper and just that maneuverability of them in the early game if needed. But yeah, we definitely see them dropped off, and first time we've seen them pop up for a little bit. In the elite section, we have a unit of 5 crisis battlesuits, all armed with burst cannon, cyclic iron blast, and plasma rifles, and then 3 have shield generators. One's got an early warning override, and 1 has counter fire defense system. The leader's got a Iridium battlesuit and stim injectors, and then we have 1 marker drone and 6 shield drones on here. So again, this is going to be a really, really tough nut to chew through, and it's just going to be jumping out by the look of it, taking shots, and then jumping back, and then just advancing down the board aggressively and just asking the opponent if they can get through all of those drones before they can even start to attempt to hurt the battlesuits themselves. Following up in elites, we've got a unit of 4 stealth suits. 3 have got burst cannons, and then the leader has a fusion blaster. They also have the homing beacon and 2 marker drones. So a nice little mix out on here. Obviously, with the technically 6 models in the unit, you can do our retrieve battlefield data very easily. And then you've got the option, if you're concerned about an alpha strike, etc., putting the crisis battlesuits in deep strike and bringing them down turn 1 still with the homing beacon. In class attack, we've got 2 units of 4 Recruit Hounds. Heavy support, we're finishing off with a single Riptide battlesuit with double plasma rifle, early warning override, the ion accelerate, target lock, and multi-tracker. So as we can see out of all of these have all had similar sort of layouts. We're starting to find the coalescence of the sort of loadouts that are working for each of the units very well. So it's good that we're still getting good results. There's still interesting stuff coming up for the week ahead as well. Be interesting as we get more towards the end of the edition. And yeah, it's great to see everyone still doing well and getting new ideas out there. So look, everyone, thank you very much for listening, and good luck to our 2 lists that are going out this weekend, and congratulations to our best performing list for the week behind. And I will see you all next week.